All right, so here today we do got something pretty fun that I wanted to jump into and kind of talk about. We have a pretty exciting dev interview over here that came out like 2-ish weeks ago. So just so you know, this isn't like after the Rappi event, which means most likely this if we read this interview before we get to the Rappi event, we would know it's confirmed Rappi. It literally says like we have something very special coming soon with one of our counter squad, and that was Rappi. So I cannot believe I did not see this, but it is a new interview. It has some very good information regarding a lot of questions you've been asking me, and like, hey, Gogo, do you think it's going to happen? And they responded to it. I wanted to show it to you and talk about it because it is kind of important, and I think you'll like this one. Let's jump into it. New to the channel, like and subscribe. It helps out a ton. Let's hop over there. So I read through the entire thing as much as I could. I tried to like break down each parts of it. I just said screw it. Half of the dev interview is like not really worth it, so I'm not gonna read through the entire thing. It's more like, who's your favorite character? We've already gotten the answer like 12,000 times. It's Anise. He's already said that. What is your dev like behind the scenes dev team, dev operations, writing team? What does it look like behind the scenes? We don't care about that. So that was half the interview already. They got to like a collaboration IP part, but they were talking about that as well, and they just basically confirmed nothing. They literally said, hey, we can't talk about collaborations and such, and pretty much they don't have the rights to talk about it or like dive into details about what they did before this, and kind of a few things regarding the collaborations that weren't liked, which was Evangelion, but you know, nothing too crazy from this segment. Over here we had more just kind of fluff segments that weren't really like too crazy. We then get into some kind of crazy stuff here. So powered up characters but no new training system. Now let's go back to talking about the game, Nikke. First, I'm curious about what you plan to do with the future update cycle of Nikke in the big picture. This is a good question to kind of have an answer to, and like where the devs' minds are, because this is something that my comments have bringing up, like, hey, we could get more overspecs, more anniversaries, more pilgrims, and stuff like that could pop up. And this is what they kind of commit to as an answer, which is good for the game. So the director, the same person we always love to see on the dev interviews and the videos, right? We plan to maintain the current established update flow of holding basically the number of whatever the New Year's event is, like third anniversary event or second anniversary event. So the number, whichever year it is, anniversary events about every 6 months. And centering around the anniversary event with various events and collaboration events in between, and updating the main story and side stories. We will also not forget to include New Year's events and April Fool's Day events in between. However, while maintaining the main flow, if you look at the details, it seems that we can make small attempts to provide better service. In fact, in overall content, such as the story, dubbing, and fields updated in 2024 compared to 2023, it has increased significantly. We'll continue to make various efforts in 2025 to make the game even better, so please support us a lot. Basically, what does this confirm? They just want to keep their schedule as is. They're maintaining the flow. And this year they tried a bit of deviation from the flow. We didn't get that double summer. We didn't get the we didn't get the collaboration as early as last year. But if you look at it this year, automatically a lot of it is kind of fixing it. You're going back to the February collaboration. Maybe they liked the first year so much better on the update schedule, and they said, you know what? Maybe we do the two summer banners. Maybe we do. Maybe, you know, the three collaboration banner thing was a flop. Maybe we don't do that. Right now, what this confirms is they don't plan to do extra right now, like Pilgrim updates. They're gonna keep them towards the New Year's anniversary every 6 months. They're gonna keep the New Year's anniversary as is. They're gonna circle around those things with various events, the collaborations in between, and they're gonna update the main story and side story as much as they can. And they won't forget about the New Year's events and pretty much April Fool's Day. So those are always gonna be the plan. And they also kind of confirmed in this interview as well that every year we're gonna get a New Year's event now, which is, I think, brand new. We don't really have New Year's events like that. That being like a side story, like that little story with Naga. In this case, like the April Fool's story, that same thing. And we're gonna have that now as a yearly occurrance, which is cool. And when they talk about this over here as well, the story has gotten better. They've gotten a bit more side stories nowadays, a bit more, not like a crazy amount, but when it comes to dubbing, you've seen that increase also. The story writing and such, in my opinion, has increased versus what people say regarding some of the stories here and there. But I do think that the writing quality and the idea that they have for stories, they've gotten better. So that's what they kind of touched upon here, which is kind of nice. Since the game has a big response to the story, okay, it seems that users always have a great thirst for the main story and side story. Do you have any plans to shorten the story update cycle? Another good question, but here's the answer. We know that our users are thirsty. Currently, the main story is released once every 3 months in 2 chapters, and recently, side story content with the same impact as the main story has been added. In terms of event stories, we are providing nearly twice as much as we did in 2022. We are currently increasing the amount of stories, and we would like to provide more stories in the future if we have the capacity. in that sense, if you are a scenario writer, basically apply to the to shift up to help them. For right now, though, they're not gonna really speed up their process. If you're worried about that or wondering about that, they're gonna keep it as 3 months, 2 chapters, and then side stories are like, let's be honest here. When they first originally talked about side stories, they were like, it's gonna take like a month or 2. That's what we thought. Right now, it's around like 3 to 6 months to get a side story, which it's kind of insane to think about that for like a story that's like 10 minutes. I know it's not 10 minutes to make that clear. It's 10 minutes to like watch and read through. But they're going to take their time with it, which is good. It's good to have that. But if you are expecting anything shorter than like 3 to 6 months, don't expect anything more than that, or less than that rather. That's kind of where we're at with the range for that. You only had 2 side stories yet, and I think that with the start of 2024 was our first side story, so that's kind of where they're at. But pretty simple. This is regarding something about the screenwriters, nothing too crazy. This is also here. So, Nikke's limited time events story tend to be like new character showcases, except for a certain, or for the basically anniversary. Because of this, I feel like it's a shame that the existing characters don't get much of a chance to get noticed. I also feel the same regret. Most of the high profile events, such as New Year's or the anniversaries, deal with pilgrims, so the characters of the 3 major companies tend to be neglected. So, we are preparing a lot internally on how to take care of them, and we'll be able to share that through official channels soon. That was confirming literally that we're going to get, during these anniversaries, we're going to get more, characters from the 3 companies, the 3 major companies. So just so you know, they've already confirmed this multiple times. It's like, when they say this, they could be just saying like, oh, Tetra, Elysian, whatever. They could also be like more, like people are like saying, oh, they're referring to mainly Elysian being Rappi and I think Neon, right? And then isn't he Tetra? Yeah, Tetra, right? So in that case, that's what they're referring to. But I'm pretty sure in the future, we could see like overspec Emma. You could see that like at a point. So depending on if like a really popular character like D Killer Wife, overspec D, you know what I mean? It could happen at a point. So that is there. This was about Rappi, but it was literally confirmed already. We already know Rappi was a pilgrim. That kind of hinted towards it. They talked about Suyin for a little bit, but she definitely will receive some attention one day, is what the response was. I do wonder if they ever will release her as a character, or if something happens. We'll see. But they do keep mentioning her as a character there, or as some stuff is coming soon with Suyin as a character, or not as a character in game, just Suyin as a whole. Okay. Improvement on existing content rather than introducing a new system. So this is regarding Liberation. This is the good stuff. Okay. Ready for this? Here's what they say. After 2 or more years of service, I can see some content that has been abandoned. A representative example would be Liberation. Personally, I think that a character like Behemoth, see, even the interviewer knows, Peak, would be perfect if it was playable through Liberation. Here's the response. We are considering Liberation. In fact, we have received many user opinions, such as your opinion, that it would be better to liberate various characters. However, at the same time, since Liberation is a method of obtaining characters by investing time over long periods of time, many players are expressing their resistance to not being able to obtain affectionate characters immediately. Which, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'd rather have a chance to get the character than never get the character at all. For example, we are filling up NPC jail when it comes to pilgrims. Indivilia, Librolio, the newest characters, right? Behemoth, the green one. We are getting a lot of them. I would love to see them just get added, even if it's forcing it through Liberation. A lot of the characters you just can't get. You simply can't get them, correct? You have 3 anniversaries, or the 3 pilgrim drops per year. Now you're filling it up with the potential for Anise and Neon. You're not going to get most of them. So just release them in this content. I would say that's the best, but we'll see. However, it is not possible to continue to release only non-mainstream characters. If there are no particular utility in the system, I think it would be, we should consider maintaining it in its current state. So basically, however, it is not possible to continue to release only non-mainstream characters. If there are no particular utility in the system, I think we should consider maintaining it at its current state. Rather than investing development resources in Liberation, it may be more satisfying for users to invest that energy into creating new content. However, at this point in time, nothing has been decided about Liberation. We are considering it from various angles. Once the direction is decided, we'll talk about it through developer notes. So, the honest statement here, if you read this properly, it basically says we're not touching Liberation ever again. Liberation's dead, okay? Rather than investing development resources in Liberation, it may be more satisfying for users to invest that energy into creating new content. So, Yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna update Liberation. I'm pretty sure it's dead now forever. Reading this, but I would have liked it to see like some characters here and there. It's like, what development resources are you actually putting in? Okay, other than designing a Nikke, it's like saying, hey, we're not gonna make an insane amount of money from this Nikke, so why design the Nikke when we can invest that energy into creating new content? Yeah, I don't know if that's the best statement to make, but let me know. What do you think? Maybe Liberation is hated in my comment section. To me, I just see it as this. I see it as an extra pilgrim that I can potentially get and have some fun with, because I wasn't getting that pilgrim regardless. Because who knows? Even if Indivilia is going to get mid as hell because she's a free pilgrim, I'm still okay with it because I got Indivilia, okay? Compared to how they're releasing the schedule and everything, now that, any character's up for grabs for each of these Andes and such, you will never know. You will never get these characters. So that's the way that I see it. I'm curious about the various contents currently in development. The first is I'll talk about is the ground content in terms of flow of the main story. The current story of Nikke is set in the ground. After leaving the underground arc, we're preparing to present new content that involves creating a base on the ground in a sort of simulation format. Among the many user feedback, one of the surprisingly many was, why don't you make the SD characters and use them? Or cute. Why'd you make them so cute and use them, basically? The ground content will be content that actively utilizes SD characters, so I ask for your high expectations. Let's talk about new content that is being prepared, Champion Arena. Before we talk about that, I would like to explain the bigger direction. And is this about the direction of content updates? Yes, of course. That doesn't mean we don't or won't be developing new content, including ground content, but like the current thing over here. Yeah, they were revamping content, which was Union Raid, Solo Raid, and Co-op Operation. They already talked about this as well. Yeah. So when will it be updated? We promised for this content over here, but sadly, we can't keep that promise, basically. So that's there. Yeah. Basically, we already read this. It's a common thing. They're, instead of right now doing new content for a little bit, they're going to revamp Solo Raid, they're going to revamp Union Raid, and Co-op Operation. Coordinate Operation, right? That's kind of where they're at right now. Up and coming, there is this content, which we don't know when it's going to release, and this content being Champion Arena, which won't be releasing until another few months. That's where we're at. The rest of the interview wasn't anything crazy. It's like more IRL stuff, so not much that I will read through it, but pretty much that's kind of what I want to talk about. They kind of referred to Liberation as a dead content. They doubled back and talked about, when it comes to these things over here, they're going to be releasing more Elysian Tetras as overspecs and do it that way. When it comes to your update cycle, they're going to maintain. They like the current trajectory of everything, and they're going to maintain with that when it comes to update schedule. And when it comes to your content schedule, like storylines and side stories, they're trying to up that a little bit, but they're going to maintain what they have. They're going to obtain up the quality, that's true, but they're not upping the release speed or anything like that. So stay with what you have now, basically is what they said here. So altogether, pretty good video, I think, in my opinion. Pretty good article to read through. Hope you enjoyed it. Pretty much what I want to talk about. But yeah, Liberation's dead, dude. It sucks. We knew it was dead, bro. They haven't updated it in more than a year. So yeah, nothing you can do about it. Take care, have fun. Wait, no. More than a year, right? Yeah, more than a year. Is it much more than a year? Like a year and 6 months? I have no idea. I think it's more than that. Never mind. Take care, have fun. Who knows?